Good evening, everyone. I'm Dominic Vidiel, and thanks for joining us tonight. Around a dozen community members in Superior gathered together, dressed in green, in support of the search for a missing woman. A group of community members met at Superior Central Park in support of Corrine Johansson, who has been missing since August 5th. Her family, friends, and community came to the event called Hope for Corrine, and they discussed recent updates in the investigation and how they can help support the family. The event was started by Jamie Ivey, and while he did...
I hope, if anything, that it gives her family the satisfaction of knowing that there's people in their circle, sticking next to them, behind them, to keep them in good spirits until she's found.
And Johansson was last seen wearing a navy blue top, sweatpants, and no shoes. Anyone with information on her whereabouts can reach the Superior Police Department by calling 911.